My next guest was in Tahrir Square for the protests that ousted Mubarak, and now he is back in the streets again. Ahmed Shokrat joins me by phone from Cairo. Ahmed, describe for me where you are and what's happening around you.
Well, right now I'm just a few meters away from the large Islamist demonstration at Cairo University, organized by the Muslim Brotherhood and their allies from the more conservative Salafi movement. But I've spent most of the week actually at the protests in and around Tahrir Square against the presidential decree issued by Egyptian President Mohammed Morsi last week, granting him sweeping powers, and more importantly, against the Brotherhood's attempt to pass a constitution in the coming weeks that was drafted largely by themselves and their Salafi allies, and that does not represent the diversity of Egyptian society.
I do want to talk to you about all of those issues, but first, you mentioned you're meters away from where people are at Cairo University supporting Mohammed Morsi. What goes through your head when you see that display of support?
Well, what goes through my head is that this is a deeply polarized Egyptian society in which both sides are trying to rally support and gearing up for what's going to be a real fight over this constitution that the Muslim Brotherhood and their Salafi partners have drafted. To my mind, this is...
Ahmed, what kind of fight? When you say you're gearing up for a fight, I mean, our viewers are looking at some live pictures of what's happening at Cairo University. It looks peaceful. We can see flags waving. People seem to be chanting or singing. I don't see any violence there. But what kind of fight are you suggesting you're gearing up for?
It might be a fight at the ballot box. I mean, one possible scenario, one likely scenario is that President Morsi will call a referendum on the Constitution in 2 weeks. And if he does so, and if the opposition sees guarantees for the fairness and transparency of the process, then I imagine they will rally their supporters for a no vote in the referendum. An alternative scenario, however, would be that there are no guarantees for fairness and transparency. You know, one problem in Egypt right now is that the current law stipulates that the elections must be overseen by the judiciary, and the judges are, for the most part, against Morsi's decree, and many courts have been on strike for the past week. So, you know, the credibility of the process, I think, hangs in the balance, and we'll see in the coming days, you know, where things will go. I think there are different scenarios that are possible. It's hard to predict at this point what's actually going to happen.
You know, we're all watching here in the West. We are watching as well to see what happens after that controversial new constitution was squeezed through yesterday. But with the perspective that you have, looking at the rallies there at Cairo University, having been part of the rallies at Tahrir Square, what's your gut telling you as to what we can expect from this referendum?
My gut is telling me that the referendum will probably take place, and the opposition will have to make a decision on what to do. If they feel that the process is credible enough that they can participate in it, they will probably rally as hard as they can for a no vote. If they don't feel the process is credible, I would expect calls for a boycott of the vote to begin emerging very soon.
And leading down that path, a boycott of the vote and perhaps more rallies, etc. How does your country unfold over the next few weeks? Help me to understand the picture.
Well, the crux of the problem is that the Muslim Brotherhood has, you know, what some have called a majoritarian view of Egyptian society. They believe that because they won the elections, this entitles them to choose who writes the new constitution. The result is a constitution that does not reflect the democratic consensus. What it reflects is the Muslim Brotherhood's newly emerging partnership with state institutions like the military and the security establishment, and with a good deal of appeasement for the Salafi constituency, whom the Brotherhood has embraced as a junior partner. Now, this is not a way to write a constitution that's going to be the foundation of Egypt's new political system. You know, to my mind, the constitution does not reflect the kind of diversity that it needs to. And this is the crux of the problem.